Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the REDX podcast. My name is Haley Johnson. I will be your host today. We have a very exciting episode that I'm personally really excited to get into. We have Alisia Krastel with us. Hello, Alicia.
Hi.
So glad that you're here today. We found her on YouTube. She's really popular on YouTube. She has a lot of great videos. We'll definitely plug her YouTube channel here at the end. But thank you so much for being here. All you people that are here live, please chat in where you're listening from. We would love to hear more from our audience. So this is a participatory event. We want you to ask your questions, and because we have Alicia here for the next half hour or so. So while she's here, we definitely want to get all of those in. For those that aren't subscribed yet to our podcast, we do just want to remind you can subscribe and get email updates and all the good stuff if you just go to the redx.com/podcast, and you can put your email in there and get all of the fun updates. Okay, enough of that. Let's get into this. We are talking about lead generation, and specifically for moms in real estate, for people that have a lot going on in their lives and need to have time efficient lead generation activities so that they can be successful. So we're going to get into that. But first, Alicia, why don't you tell people a little bit about you for those that don't know you?
Sure. So thank you for having me first.
Yeah.
And I'm a real estate agent in Baltimore, Maryland, and I've been a coach for about 5 years. I've been in the business for about 15 years as a licensed agent. And like you said, I have built systems around just needing time efficiency. And I'm not a part-time agent. Like I told you, I'm the breadwinner of the family full-time. And I have helped so many agents just figure out how to do lead gen around what their purpose is and their strengths are.
I love that. So tell me, what made you want to be a real estate agent in the first place 15 years ago?
I got licensed 15 years ago because I was interested. I had a full-time job as a newspaper editor and photographer, and I just did it 'cause I was interested. So I use a lot of that in this. I was just interested, and then I ended up having a baby, and the newspaper industry was crazy, and I was working till 2 a.m., and my husband's like, well, why don't you just go full-time? And I'm like, why don't I? And then I struggled for a few years, and then I figured it out, and now I'm kicking butt.
Oh, that's awesome. Cool. Yeah. And you say like you're the breadwinner now, and it wasn't always that way, right? You did definitely have to start and figure out get your feet wet and figure out what worked and what didn't, especially because you have 3 kids at home, right? So it's kind of important. So tell me a little bit about that, how you started, and with 3 kids at home and everything, like take me through that a little bit.
So I started as a stay-at-home mom working real estate all around this, and from a closet, basically a 5x6 closet. You could touch both sides. And my kids now are 12, 10, and 6. And I really had to just figure out ways that were impactful, like really powerful lead gen that didn't take a lot of time, and that I could be consistent as a mom, because door knocking in a wagon sounds cute with 3 kids, but when you're actually doing it, it's not something that's sustainable. So I found ways to do other things. Relationship building, branding has been big for me, and time management. That's how I've been able to do it.
Cool. So let's dive into that a little bit more, and talk about lead generation a little bit, because we talk about lead generation all the time here at REDX and on the podcast and stuff, and how to generate leads. But I think specifically for you and for other moms that are listening, or just people that want to be more efficient with their time and save more time, like was there a trial and error period at first and you had to figure out what worked, and let's go into those tactics?
So in the beginning, like any agent, I was just like, give me leads. I need leads. Whoever will help. Like I was taking advice from everyone. I was doing everything. I was cold calling, door knocking, all the things. And I was just getting burned out. And I probably would have quit real estate if I didn't figure out a path for me. So once I started to realize, well, like I have this spidey sense of when people need help. I know how to nurture people. I know how to build relationships. I started to take the things that I was already doing with my kids and being purposeful about that. Like if we were going to the park, I was going to make relationships with one person at least. And I was going to send them a card afterward, right? I'm going to have a process set behind every single activity I do and layer in my life to get leads. And I actually don't even call them leads anymore. I call them relationships and relationship building.
Oh, I love
that. Same thing with REDX. Like if you're calling for REDX, those people are not just leads, they're potential relationships.
I love that. So that's kind of like what you focused on first, is just getting relationships. I know a lot of people, new agents, they get into the business and they're told to like go through their phone and call everybody in their contact list, right? And let them know that, hey, I'm an agent or stuff like that. So is that what it looked like for you? Did you contact all your family and friends,
Well,
or
that's
were
what it looked
you?
like for me.
Yeah.
And I was enrolled saying, who do you know is going to buy or sell real estate in the
Yeah.
next 60 to 90 days? And if I had to go back, I would never say that
Mm,
because you are not desperate for leads. You're just trying to hold your breath long enough to get really good referral clients. Like that's all you're doing. If you help enough people
mm,
and add value, like you're doing with this podcast, adding the value will get you referrals. They don't have to be leads. They'll just be like, oh, you're my girl. Oh, you're my guy. I'm going with you. They are not even interviewing other people.
I like that. And I think so. And tell me, because real estate agents get in the business and they're, I mean, especially new agents, right? They're trying to get their first deal. And I think a lot of them get into it and they're like, oh, I just need to find my first deal. I need to hurt. And so they get that kind of like commission breath is what we've heard it. And so they're just calling and saying all those things about real estate. And people can tell that you're not being genuine, right? Like
Yeah,
it's definitely like, oh, okay, you're trying to get a sale out of me. But so
100%.
so what would you say to those people that are like, oh, I got to get my first deal? I know that I should be making these relationships, but that's kind of a long game, right? That's like, uh-oh, I need a deal now.
Sometimes it's a long game, but I have a method for making it not a long game. So
Okay.
I think you found me in the video that I talk about this mindset shift with new agents and moms, because whoever's like desperate for leads, the mindset shift is that of adding value and not, I need a lead. I need a, because you're hunting for something. You want to
Mhm.
attract. You don't get the good stuff by going and like trying to chase it down. You get it because it sees you and you're like, you're the shiznit, right? Like, so that's where your mindset shift has to set. You need to do social media posts that show you actually know about real estate. Even if you haven't sold anything, you maybe know pieces of real estate really well, and you show them that you're a great agent and can
Mhm.
attract them rather than that. It's a little bit of holding your breath. And then the trick to making it faster is your current relationships. They know you as niece Haley, sister Haley, friend
Mhm.
Haley, teacher Haley, right? But people you know and meet now, like currently, you're Realtor Haley, period. They don't know you as anything else. So the biggest thing you can do as a new agent is actually give yourself permission to go do the things that you actually love and like. And then you will
Mm.
meet people there that know you at ground zero. And then if they think you're awesome, they don't care how long you've been in the business. They think you've been in there forever.
Mm.
But you got to go do stuff that you actually like to attract the people who are your jam, not force networking groups.
I like that. Finding people, because I mean, you don't want to work with people that you don't get along with, or that it wouldn't make a good relationship for you, right? Are you picky with the relationships that you find, or are you just like spreading the net out as far as it can go?
The longer I've been in, the pickier I've been. And
Mm.
once I shift and I started to like literally delete people out of my database, like you talk to me like what? No, you and your whole family are gone. Now it's like, okay, I go to the gym and I meet people who are like me. Not only do I enjoy working with them more, the
Mhm.
efficiency with working them is better. So you have a whole time management issue. So if you can get in front of people who are your jam, they're better to work with and it's more efficient.
Like it. So going out to places that, I mean, you're interested in as well, and finding those people. You mentioned social media. What other like lead generation tactics are you using, or did you use?
You can literally go do anything for a lead generation activity. And it's dependent on the person. Like a team
Hmm.
I'm doing coaching in Utah, they have bubble events where they take these big baby pools, put bubbles in them, and they invite their friends. And they've gotten 2 people pre-approved, and they haven't been doing it very long. It's literally anything that you enjoy. So I specifically did a mom's night out because my kids were in preschool. That was one of the first things I did when they were real little. And I just found a wing woman who was interested in like being there with me, who was like, yeah, this is a good idea. And I was the coordinator. I found a location, a time, invited people,
Hmm.
and sometimes I didn't even show up. Then I started to say, hey, just bring a friend if you think that they need a mom's night out. And they would be like, you need to meet Alicia. She's an amazing realtor. Oh, my friend's getting ready to sell their house. You have to come and meet this girl.
Hmm.
They did all the work for me. It wasn't me pounding the streets. It was leveraging my relationships.
And I think that's probably the most important thing, right? When you're a mom and you're a real estate agent, you really have to leverage stuff. You can't, I mean, you don't have the time to go out and door knock on every single person's door trying to find everybody. You really have to use your relationships to your advantage, right?
Moms are forced to, but every
Yeah.
agent should.
Hmm.
Moms have no other choice. So it's not like they have less to work with. It's just they have less
Right.
time. Every agent should be following very efficient lead generation strategies.
I like that.
They
Do you
should be
think a lot of people do
leveraging
that? Like a lot of people just waste unnecessary time?
100%. When I worked at a brick and mortar, I've been out for 5 years. Every day I saw people talking, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Like, what are you doing every day? Why are you not leveraging stuff? I've got kids to go feed. Like, I
I
don't have
like that.
time for chit chat."
So, and it's something that you said a little bit pre-show is that even agents that are part-time, right? There's a lot of agents that are part-time that want to make it their full-time gig. And the thing is, if you're a part-time agent, you could, if you leverage your time well enough, correct me if I'm wrong or anything, but you can be making the same amount of money you would be in a regular full-time job somewhere else, right? In part-time, if you are leveraging your time the way that you should. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Depending on what market you're in and what price point it is, like easily $100,000 as a part-time agent if you are
Mhm.
efficient. If you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, it's never going to happen. You're going to quit. But if you're leveraging your time, you're leveraging your relationships, you're leveraging your brand, there is no reason you can't do that.
Hmm.
Even like let's just say a 5,000 basic commission, that's 20 houses. No reason you can't do that in 20 hours a week.
Wow. Okay, so what are some other like efficiency leveraging tips that you have to help people?
Branding, whatever it
Oh
is,
yeah.
even if you don't have a logo or anything, find something that you're known for. Like a lot of people like to call it a shtick. Like if you love shoes, then post
Hmm.
about shoes and people will start to know you. And everyone's like, well, that's not branding. That's not really branding. Well, it is. If you can get someone to think about you when you're not in the room with them, that sure as heck is branding.
Hmm.
100%. And especially if if people like you and trust you and they are thinking of you, it's going to work as branding.
Hmm.
I love YouTube. I love
Yeah.
TikTok. I love short form video. Anytime that anyone can see you on camera. Chelsea Pites, maybe you've interviewed her before. She's an Instagram queen and she's done a book, Talking Pictures. You can read it. What to Post is the other book. But she has proven where we're a camera front, an image society where humans literally put an image in their brain when they can see your face, no matter where they're seeing you. So if they can see your face, even on like a 10-second Facebook story, they're cataloging that. So if you're in a house or profile in a community and they see you, that's leveraging branding.
Hmm. Okay, so and I think what's cool about like real estate at this time and age and everything with social media and how you can get yourself out there is people can know kind of who you are and what you're about before they even hire you, which is kind of cool with like a lot of different professions. For example, like if you wanted to go find a therapist and they had a bunch of stuff on like their social media or whatever, you know exactly who you're getting, who you're going to be hiring for the job, right? And so
Yeah.
I'm sure, as you say, like leveraging your brand, people will get to know you without actually meeting you in person or anything. And you didn't have to spend the time calling all these people. They just kind of get to know you because you're around.
In their head, they've already hired you. They're just meeting you in person to make sure that you're the real stuff, that you're not like
Mm,
just like that on camera.
that's
You're
cool.
like, there's no me going on appointments with 4 other agents. That does not happen.
Mm,
And if they do, I'm probably not even interested in working with them.
right.
They just know you already. They know what
Mm.
you're made of, and they're just proving that they made the right decision.
So when you were newer and you were making all of these relationships, was it harder to be pickier because you were just trying to find the deals, or should you prioritize like finding those people that you will like to work with in the future?
You should prioritize. You should work on the mindset and know that, hey, I'm going to feel desperate. That's going to be your inclination, is to feel desperate and want to do
Right.
all these things. And just like the big saying is, you just got to take whatever you can get as a new agent. I don't believe that at all. And coming from a person who begged practically for a $70,000 listing from a FISBO, like if I had to do it all over again, I would never do that. I would hold out for the gold because it has a compound effect, right?
Hmm.
It keeps you alive longer and more fruitful. So I almost forgot the question. So when we're talking about a new agent first doing that, I would go back and be selective. Yes. So when it switched is when my mindset went from being a little bit desperate to, okay, what relationships do I want to be in? Who have I met
Mm,
before that I want to be in a deeper relationship with? I literally made a list of people, and the coach I had then said, why don't you just ask them to lunch? And I'm like, they don't want to have lunch with me. What value do I have? So I started asking them, and lo and behold, those people were like, I'm so glad you asked me. I've been meaning to ask you, but I just didn't think I had anything to offer. From there on, like, my self-worth in real estate went up.
I like that because I think people can tell your confidence, right? Especially with real estate, when they can choose. So many people know so many agents, and if they can choose whoever they want, they are going to want somebody who's confident in their ability. And I think that's something that a new agent needs to learn, especially because if you don't have your first deal or you've only had a few, right? That if you are confident in the value that you bring, then it's good. They're going to feel that. They're going to read that off of you, and they're going to want to hire you, right?
Yes. Yes. If I was to start over, I would be looking for humans and not deals. I'd be looking for the
Mm.
right human, a right quality human, because even if that person that you're introduced to or that you're having lunch with is never going to sell a house with you, they know 100 people that might. And if you show up awesome, they're going to refer you.
That's cool. So actually we have at REDX, we have a weekly newsletter that we send out, and I write them. And the past one that we wrote, it was all about relationships, because real estate is a relationship business. Would you agree?
100%.
Yeah, if you don't have relationships, you're not going to be successful. You're going to fail. And if you're only focused, like you said, I love that you said humans, not deals, because that's the whole point. We're in the people business. We're talking to people, we're helping people buy and sell and stuff like that. And so if you're focused on the wrong thing, if you're focused on the deals, you're focused on the transactions, you're focused on the money, commission, stuff like that, I mean, you're just hurting yourself, right?
100. Yes. Yes. And well, we were just talking about mindset. The other thing I wanted to mention about mindset is that so
Yeah.
many people, especially moms, are looking at the other agents that are on teams or whatever. They're like, oh gosh, they're closing deals left and right. Oh my gosh, they're, closing this deal. What you don't know behind the scenes is that their team is taking 60% or 50% and or they're paying $4,000 for leads a month. You just don't know the whole picture. So you cannot compare what another
Mhm.
agent is doing, especially when you're a solo agent.
Yeah, I really like that.
And every person if they have a list from REDX, every single person they call, it's not a lead to list a house. It is a relationship opportunity. And if you treat that person like you really want to know the person and do they just have a house to sell, it will change their business.
I
Because
like
every
that.
other agent is just acting like they're a lead.
Hmm. I like that because it's like, I mean, people can focus on so many things in real estate. They focus on the numbers, they focus on the leads, they focus on everything. And I think what makes real estate so enjoyable is that you do get to just make these relationships with people. You get to call people, learn about their life, like and bring value and help them. And I think that's why, and maybe it should be talked about more. I know a lot of people talk about mindset in real estate, but I mean, especially with everything like you're saying, mindset is everything. If you go into a call session or you're trying to generate leads in another way, and you're just worried so much about like, oh, I gotta get my next listing, I have to get this, I have to do this, then it's just not going to be good. You're just not going to be successful.
Yeah.
And so talk to me a little bit more about mindset. Like what things helped you get your mindset right so that then your business flourished?
I mean, swagger. When you get a little bit of swagger and you don't need to sell houses to do it, it could be, like I said, learning a little piece of real estate. Like, you're like, I know this better than anybody in my office, and I know I do.
Mm.
Like, when you get the swagger, everybody feels it and you feel it. And you're like, all right, I'm as good as anybody in Baltimore. They feel it. That's a huge thing that can help you. Um, your mindset around branding, that you really do. You are a living, breathing brand. The mindset around hunting versus being nurturing. And maybe that's why moms really can key into this, because if you're hunting, men a lot of times are used hunt, 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 hunt for those leads. And women are like, oh, Sally's daughter lost her first tooth. I'm going to send her a note congratulating her daughter. That will beat anyone's mailer that's
Mm.
bulk anytime. That's going to have so much impact, and that person's going to feel like me. And if they're calling and they talk to a listing lead
Mhm.
and they have a good conversation, why not pick up a pen and saying, Jennifer, I had such a great conversation with you. I just wanted to say whatever about the conversation.
Right.
They're not going to care about any other agent. You're going to be the only one.
Hmm.
But
People like
I
people.
think men have a hard time picking up on those cues.
Yeah. I like that. I think especially when you talk about working your database or calling your sphere of influence or things like that. Like I hear a lot of people that they'll just call and be like, "Hey, how's it going?" versus a call that is like, "Hey, I saw that like you said, like Susie graduated high school or something. Congratulations. Like how is that going?" Things like that. You point out the actual relationship because people, like I said, people like people. They want and to know that you're paying attention to their life and making like little notes or things like that and reaching out. I mean, I just think about myself, right? If I'm wanting to hire somebody, if I'm wanting to sell my house, like I'm not going to go with some Joe Schmo who like sent me a mailer with his face plastered all over it and like is like, "Hey, if you want to buy or sell," I'm going to go with the person who called me, reached out to me, or like wrote me something personal, sent me a text, something like that, where we actually have a relationship going versus, "Oh, I know you're only in this for the deal." So
Yeah. You have to prove your evidence of success, right? You can't just
mhm,
be a nice person, which I think sometimes people can get stuck in. I'm a nice person. I'm doing nice things. You
mhm.
also have to show them that you're kick ass. Like you have to show them and you know what you're talking about. And I think
Yeah.
sometimes that gets imbalanced
So how do you find that balance?
through evidence of success. So if I could do it all over again, I'd start with video. I mean, I've been doing it for, I don't know, 6 years now, but I would do
Yeah.
video on little pieces of real estate because you're not going to know everything as a new agent. You're not going to know everything as any agent, to be honest. Pick a little tiny thing and you talk about it and show up. And then you show up in your personal life so people can see what you're like.
Hmm.
Like people know I'm a good mom. They know that I'm present. Like they're not calling me saying, "Well, why can't you take this call at 6 o'clock?" They just know about they get you.
Yeah. So that's interesting then because you don't want to just be like what do we call them? They're like silent agents where
Yeah.
you don't even know that they're an agent because they're so like quiet about that part of their life in order to like not feel too salesy around their family and friends, you know? So I can get that aspect, but also there's the other side of that where you're way too salesy and you're way too all about real estate. So there's just a balance there. You kind of have to find where people know that you're in real estate, but they also know that you're a genuine person and that you bring value.
Yes. Yep. You don't want to be friend zoned. That's what
Right.
like you don't want to be friend zoned because like, oh, she's so nice, but is she good as, Mac Johnson or whatever? Like you just have to show up. And it doesn't take a lot. I don't believe, and I know for a fact you don't, because I do it and other agents have done it. You do not have to show up on social media every single day.
Hmm.
You do not need to show your evidence of success. You do not need to post every single listing sold that you have. You need to prove that you know what you're talking about, which I think is through hyperlocal information. So if
Okay.
you're posting about a zip code and like, oh, everybody's talking about the market being so saturated. Okay, well, I have price reductions in my market. Post about that. Post like there's been 2 price reductions in the last month. Can you believe it? Now you just stuck out from everybody else who's talking real estate.
Hmm.
So if you can find something hyper local, your zip code, how many waterfront homes were under 400,000 or something, anything interesting that's hyper local.
I like that because it actually does bring value instead of just posting about all these listings you're taking. Because like think about all the people. If I'm scrolling through my feed, what I want to see, and that's something I'm not seeing, right? Like some take or some like information that is very singular to where I am. I think that would be way more beneficial.
Yeah. I actually have
Cool.
a suggestion for a post if you want to hear it for these agents.
Of course.
Whether you're new, a mom, what seasoned, if you're personally doing the business, backtrack a couple months and say, here's what I'm seeing, the behind the scenes, right?
Mhm.
This percentage of post occupancy agreements have been happening. This many waived inspections. These people decided, or however many decided, like I had a 6-month period where no one was accepting inspections waived. Like the sellers were like, no, we don't like that. Our house is fine. Like talk about the behind the scenes and give them those nuggets. And if you're new, poll the agents in your audience, in your office, right? You can
Mhm.
go in and take 10 agents and what did you see in the last 6 months? And then you can say, hey guys, our office is seeing this. So you waiving inspections might not be the best option because it doesn't appear that people care as much as we think.
I like that because it's basic marketing. It's basically knowing your audience, right? And instead of focusing on what you think they would like to see or what you like, what you're doing, and it's all about you, like think about what people on the other side are going to want to see, and then just create content out of that, right? Like that's like the most basic marketing principle that I think so many people just like bloop, it's over there.
Yeah. Yes, they're too busy like focusing on another agent that had 20 listings closed and in their
Yep.
feed. And it's like, that's not, I don't think, like, it's okay. It's fine. You can do it, but that's not what hooks people.
Yeah. So, and I'm curious a little bit, like as you were talking about social media and your posting and stuff like that, what is kind of your, and maybe this was a little bit different when you first started in real estate and you were juggling and you weren't like the main person in your family that was bringing in money or whatever, like, what was kind of your routine? Like, did you focus? Because I mean, I'm sure you had to take kids here and there and like make sure that they're at soccer practice, things like that. So
Yeah.
tell me how you like time managed and what your routine was.
This is such a great question because everyone asks me what my time blocking is, and they're always mind boggled that I don't time block. I do not time block. I use a Post-it, and I have spent hours and hours and hours, weeks on what is my 20%, the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle. What is the 20% that gets me results? Like really, it's only 2 or 3, maybe 4 things for agents. It is not a list of 20 things. It is not 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. It's not. I don't care what they say. They need to stop talking. It's 3 to 4 things on your Post-it, right? You start, here's the drivers. That's my 20%. I'm doing 1. Okay, my kid got sick. I got to go pick him up from school. Okay, well, now it's 9:30 instead of 8:30 like I wanted. Okay, you go pick up the kid, you come back. Okay, now I got to go to number 2 on the 20%, period. Like, it's not that as hard as everyone's making it seem, but they're so stuck with like, I have to time block this. They're worried about the time instead of the activities. Well, if you time block and a mom can get it done in 3 hours and it takes you 8, that's your problem.
Activities over time.
Yeah, it's the 80-20 rule. The better I got with that and the more I could hone in on like very specific, like mine right now is conversations, creating conversations through whatever it is, posting a video or post on social media, not on all of them. And it doesn't have to be on everyone every day, and sending a card to someone. Those are my 20%. The appointments will happen. And guess what? When you make relationships like that, you need less appointments because when I go on an appointment, I get the client. Like, it's not like you need to go on 5 to get one.
I like this.
So you had to back up and slow down a little bit. But at the end of the game, you're still ahead. But nobody wants to take that. Not nobody. A lot of people are blocked from taking that leap.
So yeah, and so I think about this because I mean I interview a lot of people on this podcast, and when they talk about time blocking, they're like, and this works for people, right? So, but for like people that, but for people that are moms, for example, or just have really busy schedules or trying to take care of kids or have all of these different stuff going on, sometimes like having a set 9 a.m. prospecting session that it just doesn't work, right? It just like, you just have other things going on that you can't have such a strict schedule. And so I think like you saying that will work for agents that have that more of a kind of crazy schedule and they have to focus on activities rather than, okay, their calendar is blocked. Okay, at 9 a.m. I'm done. I'm doing this. At 10 a.m. I'm doing this and stuff like that. And so I think they're just different methods and they work however, your schedule is. But as we're talking specifically, to making time efficient things and people that are moms and have all this stuff, I think that's really important to get across because so many people just are like time block, but that doesn't work for everybody.
It doesn't work for everyone.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you like kind of focused on moms a little bit more here because there's so many moms with so much potential, but it has been shoved down their throat that they have to do it XYZ way. And I'm telling you, you can make $150,000 off of a Post-it note and making relationships and going to Chick-fil-A and making relationships at the playground because you can, and you're not any less professional. And everyone has someone, right? I have kids, but how about my husband? He has a wife that's a distraction, right? How about so-and-so? They might have a girlfriend. Someone might be taking care of their parents. Everybody has somebody that is going to mess up their schedule sometimes. and you have to be able to adjust.
Yeah. I think that's an important word there, is just adjust. And I think that's my favorite thing you said, was just focusing on your activities instead of the time. And like, if you missed a 10 o'clock appointment, does that mean that just, you're not going to lead generate, that you're not going to go and post on social media? Does that just mean like, okay, well, I missed that today, I'm just going to do that tomorrow? No, of course the things that you're focusing on are hopefully still the right things, right? The right activities that will help you be successful in real estate. It's just, they don't need to happen at the exact time that you said that they need to.
Whose rule, right? Like, whose rule that you have to get up at 5 a.m.? I don't know. Get up if you want. Don't get up if you want. Oh, another tip that I forgot to say that I wrote down is that my communication goes out in the morning before anyone wakes up. So no one needs me throughout the day. So if there's an inspection or if there's anything that's happening, I'm proactive with that, and they know exactly what to expect. They know exactly the next time I'm going to talk to them. So they're not calling me, how'd it go? All right. I don't have that because I led up to it the right way.
Wow. Yeah, I think that's a huge complaint in like real estate, is that you have people calling you all the time, and you have like, you are working 24/7 because you have all of these people and all these things that are going on. And so, yeah, so you've kind of spoken a little bit to that like, you don't have to do that as long as you prioritize like your conversations, or do it first thing in the morning or whatever. Then you're not having to run out over all the time and answering your call every 5 minutes, things like that, right?
Yeah. They know if like we were expecting offers, like I don't need to talk to you every 5 minutes. Like we'll meet at 6, right? Like,
yeah, I like that.
But some agents are just answering all the time. You're answering it. They're calling you, but you're answering it.
I like that. Yeah, because I mean, you don't have to. Figure out how to avoid that. Like, okay, could this have been a conversation earlier where I set the right expectations?
That's key. Is the right expectations will save you so much time. You can make so much more money if you set expectations.
I like that. Okay, so we're running out of time here, but I do like, this has been awesome. These last 30 minutes, I'm just like getting so much information from you. So I really appreciate this. But to close out, do you have any like final tips, final things that you want to close out with our audience today?
Probably the biggest thing, because I heard it the last 2 days, is that sometimes your family and your best people that are on your side are not going to believe in what you're doing. They don't know better than you. My husband tried to get me to not do YouTube. We wouldn't be here today if I didn't do YouTube. They don't know. They're trying to protect you. They're not trying to be malicious in most cases. You just have to do what you believe in because you know what is right.
I like that. Focus on that. That's awesome. Well, Alicia, thank you so much for spending your time with us today. This has been an awesome, I think really, really valuable for people. I don't think we talk about this kind of stuff enough on the podcast. So I really, really appreciate this. I do want to ask you though, for people that want to hear more from you, where can they find you?
YouTube. Come to YouTube. I'll teach you how to lead generate all the ways. And I'm on TikTok too. Just my name. Search my name.
I love that. Awesome. Yeah, and we'll have it in the show notes I'll put that after the show so that you can go find all of that information. That's how we found her. So she's awesome. And I think you dive a lot more into what we talked about today in your videos and things like that. So if people want to hear more, then that'll be great. And maybe we'll have to have you back on again to talk about some more of this stuff. But
sounds good.
Thanks again. Thank you everybody for watching. We appreciate all of there's Sylvie just said great interview. So I'm glad that people are finding value with this. But again, like if you haven't, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll get all of the fun notifications when we go live. And if you are listening to this afterwards, make sure that you subscribe to any podcast, wherever you like to listen to your podcasts and things like that. But yeah, we will be back here, same time, same place next Thursday. And we hope you have a wonderful rest of your week.
Thanks so much.